Hi guys, this is just a quick little video on how to put some text into a mug. We were doing it in class today and we kind of ran out of time before we got it right. So there's a load of different ways of doing this, as there is with pretty much everything in Photoshop, but the best way we're going to do it is to create wrap a rectangle around the mug. Call it what's called a smart object. And what a smart object does is once you get the shape of the smart object right by warping it and twisting it, everything you drop into the smart object takes that shape. Okay, so it's reasonably straightforward. There's a couple of little things just to remember. Um, you can just kind of play the video again. Okay, so we have down here there's a little box. It's basically a little rectangle box. You can see it down here. I'm just going to click on that, right? Oh, once again, and I'm going to draw a box just on the edge of this mug, right? That's it. Now at the moment it's just grey. Grey is fine. Okay, I'm going to go over to layers. I'm going to click on right click on it, and I'm going to go convert to smart object. Now, you know I'm not a fan of these things, but sometimes they're pretty much all they can do. They're the only thing that will do it properly. So if I go to edit and I go to transform and I go down to warp, I have a couple of options here, but the one that I'm going to choose is cylinder, right? Now, you'll see we have a grab handle top right hand corner, center, bottom center, and left. And we just have to keep kind of playing around with these till we get it right. Now, I'll just show you here. Sometimes you have to go in and out of um, warp to distort. So you just grab the center one down to try and match the curve of the cup. Now these corners aren't great, so we then go edit, transform, and distort. I'll be able to bring the corners in. You'll see the bottom will go out. That's going to be okay. We're going to get that right now in a second. So we can bring the corners up like that, and then we go back and we go edit, transform, and warp again, and then we can bring that down. So it's pretty much all we're doing is we're mapping the grey square to the side of the cup. That's pretty much it, right? So when we're finished with that, we just click kind of OK. So it's kind of there. Now here's the thing. Over here we've made there's a rectangle layer has turned up, right? What we're going to do is we're going to double click on that. Now what it's done is here's our original image and here's our rectangle. Now what it's done is it's basically, you can actually just see the mug in the background. It's opened the smart object in a separate window, and we can drop anything that we want to drop in there. Okay, but the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to hide that particular layer, right? Because we don't want gray being part of it. And if I go to file and place embedded, it gives me an option to put something in. Now, Cara asked me about this today for her. I've just put synesthesia. Okay, there shouldn't be an S on the end. I'm just going to click on that. All I did was I just basically made a rectangular object in Photoshop. I put the word synesthesia in and I saved it with a transparent background. So I'm just going to go place. And because we wanted to wrap around the cup, I'm just going to just stretch it a little bit past the image just to show you what it's like. Okay. So all I've done is I've put a grey box onto the mug, I turned it into a smart object, I warped it and wrapped it around the mug, and that's pretty much it. Now I'm just going to say OK, and I'm going to close it, and it's going to say, are you sure? And I'm going to go yes. Now, there you go. So that's what it's done, right? It basically just took it from the other image and wrapped it around the mug. And I find that sometimes the difficult part with doing these things, we use the smart object just I'm doing them manually. It's hard to imagine exactly what it would look like, um, and which means it's very hard to kind of settle on it. Now, so that's just one way of doing this, right? So we could just as easily do it with an object as well if we wanted to, right? So I'm gonna go back. I'm just gonna delete. So that's done. You can just replay that part of it, right? I'm just gonna delete that layer there, right? And I'm gonna do the same thing again, but this time I'm gonna do it with an image. So we go down to our grey box, and we're just gonna grab this around here, and we get it to roughly kind of the size we want. We go over to our layers, we right click, and we go to convert to smart object, edit, transform, and warp. And just from the defaults, we're going to choose cylinder. Again, I'm just going to play around with this again. It's going to get the box pretty much size of that. And the top one will move it up, but the bottom one will move it down that way. Right, so we'll go back in. Transform and distort. We're going to bring this one up to about here again. We'll go back to warp and we'll bring it back down. Just want to get the corners right on this before we do this. Okay, then we go edit, transform, and warp again. We're going to bring it down. And that'll do for what we're doing. It's a bit wonky on the right. We'll fix it. Edit, transform, and distort. That wasn't that one. Okay, there we go. Edit, transform, warp. it'll do for what we're doing. Okay, so we have that there, right? Now, we want to put an image into it this time, right? So I'm going to double click on the little thumbnail again. It opens it up in its own window, but this time I'm going to go File, Place Embed. Oh, no. Hang on. Clicked on stock. It's going to start opening Adobe Stock. It doesn't work. Okay, so we go File, Place Embedded. And this time I've got a little picture on my desktop of a cheeky little kid. He's now 30 years old. Okay, again, I'm just going to extend it past the mug. Now, if I was being really specific with this, I would have made my grey box exactly the same size as the size of the mug. I didn't do that. I'm just going to put this on as a kind of a print, right? Okay, just for the hell of it, I'll have the grey background. Okay, so pretty much that's that image there. So hang on there for 1 second. Edit, transform, and warp. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with it. Okay, so it's fine, right? It's fine. I'm just going to click close, and it asks me, do I want to save changes? I'm going to say yes. Ugh. Okay, so all right, so it's wrapped around it. It looks a bit warpy. It worked perfectly well. It's just the image itself probably isn't the best one that I could have used, but you can see how it's wrapped it around the mug. Now, it was fine for the text because the text was like a single layer of synesthesia. That's grand. If I'd been doing this, you know, properly, I would have matched. You'll see there's a little black line here. Okay, I would have matched my grey box right up to the edge on this, and it would have done it a bit more perfectly. Now it does look a bit kind of wraparoundy, but sure, that's the way it's supposed to look. Okay, so look, I hope that's been of some use to you. I'll kind of post it, or I'll send a kind of a link out to everyone on this. You can just give it a go. Yeah, you can let us know if there's any other questions on it, but hopefully that'll do it. Sorry, we've no class next week because it's Christmas open day. But that doesn't mean I won't be around to answer questions or respond to emails. So if you get stuck on something, just let me know. Don't forget that everything isn't due until January, so there is loads of time left. So no panicking, right?